Good morning. Good morning to your listeners.
And thank you very much for your time.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
well, where does your worry? Where is your worry coming from? Because it seems the decision of a court is you do not have the authorization to prosecute. Perhaps if you get that authorization, you'll be allowed to continue. And the court says, in the meantime, let the AG take over. Where's the problem for you?
A couple of problems. So first of all, we believe that the court acted outside of its powers on that particular issue. It was very aware that there was a case before the Supreme Court, and I think the ideal issue, particularly as it relates to striking down an act of parliament, whether it's in parts or whatever. This is a real constitutional matter that really is the Supreme Court that has to address that. So I didn't think the High Court helped any matters by making those orders. And, even some of the orders are a bit contradictory. At one point, it is null and void. So all prosecutions are null and void, but then it's asking the AG to take over cases and so on. So I think the best way to resolve it, and I hope that the OSP would take steps to get a stay and ultimately quash those orders, and then the forum really should be the Supreme Court, which the other High Court took that same position, so that we can have clarity on this matter of constitutionality.
Okay. So let me get clarity on which orders, because it seems a matter of fact was raised in as a legal objection to a case that had been brought by against an accused person. The accused person says you're supposed to have authorization to prosecute me. If you raise that challenge, you're not challenging the person's capacity to bring the case against you. Is a High Court not allowed to rule on that?
So that's what I'm saying, that whatever interpretation, I don't even want to get into the interpretation that the court sort of undertook, because in my view, it's not a general literal interpretation that you would restrict yourself to. That act came with a clear memoranda which sought to distinguish this type of delegation of power to another person under Article 88 from the Law Officers Act, where you are required a fiat. If you read the memoranda, it's very, very clear that it was not meant to repeat another sort of fiat arrangement under the Law Officers law. So if you are making even a judicial review, an interpretation of that act, I don't think you just restrict yourself to one line and say that it's not a constructed suggested that there was supposed to be permission obtained before. So that's one side. But all I'm saying is that the court was also seized with what was happening in other places, particularly on this matter. It's not the only place where a challenge to the OSP's legality has been made, right? So I think that for me, the High Court was seized with what has been happening at the Supreme Court, and really should, and I'm sure the OSP made that clear as well, and that the right process would have been to stay it and then allow the Supreme Court process to be resolved, or sort of join, consolidate all of the cases. So, I mean, that's, as I said, that's my view, and I think it's a fair view that can be challenged at the appeal court or so on. And I expect the OSP to take that view.
So for you, the best resolution is for OSP to take up this matter to a higher court.
Of course. Okay. Of course. I mean, because the implications are very extreme. One day you wake up and you say every criminal prosecution that the OSP has taken is void, null and void. I think it's a very, very serious, not just for the OSP, but for us as citizens of Ghana. It throws the whole prosecutorial process into complete disarray. So these are very serious matters. So I don't think that the OSP has, for me, a public interest duty to stay the process so that the Supreme Court can pronounce on it very clearly, and then we know where we go from there.
But then what do you make of those who suggest that until then the OSP should secure the authorization?
No, because that is not what the Act 959 provided. It was not, and as I said, it was the whole point of that 2017 Act, and it's very clear in the debates that followed in Parliament. It's very clear in the memoranda that we wanted to create a situation where the Attorney General under his delegatory powers, can give this power to another person, but not in the way that has been done in other formats, like the Law Officers Act or like IOCO, where you need to basically be requesting for a fiat and so on. That at any point in time, if the delegating powers of the AG, the AG was not satisfied, he wanted to take it back, he can go and repeal the law. So that is the fundamental right, to give this person independence so that they can do the work, even though they are drawing the power from the AG. So if you say now that, now you should go, and that is not the design of the OSP. So for me, I would not subscribe to that. I think if there's energies to be expended, let the OSP go and stay the action. We have a Supreme Court decision that is there, that process that is going on. We have already indicated that we want to file an amicus on the matter, given that the AG and the applicant are on one side and have, decided that this is how they believe that they support that the process is not constitutional. We take a completely different perspective, and we feel that the Supreme Court must be avail itself to these other arguments, legal arguments.
Oh, so you do not hold that, because there are people who have argued over and over again, including even persons from the New Patriotic Party. They were the ones who promised the Office of Special Prosecutor moved it. But the opinion, including that of the former speaker, is that the office is unconstitutional. You say that is not the case?
I disagree with them. I was very much involved in that law. I mean, basically, we did a lot of technical work on that law. And we were very careful, to make sure that the Attorney General's delegatory powers, was properly affirmed in the drafting of the law. The fact that it might appear not neat to people, because what we said was that at some point we need to elevate the OSP to a constitutional body, right? When we can formally amend Article 88 and hive off that power to an OSP or an independent public prosecutor. So that was like step 2. The first step was that using or taking advantage of the fact that an Attorney General can delegate his power under Article 88(4), like it has been done in many statutes, COP or GRA or whatever it is. We do that with the clear understanding that in this particular test, delegating that power, that you're giving the person enough autonomy to be able to make the decision. If at any point in time, because it doesn't stop you, another AG come here and saying, I don't agree with this because it's my power under the Constitution, I want to take it back, you go and repeal the law. So when people say it's unconstitutional, I don't understand it. Very much, very clear that the text of it says is drawing the power from 88(4). It makes the Attorney General the one that appoints, nominates the person, and then the President does the administrative responsibility of appointing the person, and then with the Parliament's majority support of the person. So all of these steps have been taken to confirm the AG's delegatory powers. So for me, that's why I'm saying that we have a different perspective. I don't see that there is anything wrong with what was done because, as other lawyers have shown, the powers, the delegatory powers have been done in so many other statutes. So if you say for me that the what's it called, the a parliament cannot do that that basically we should basically repeal all the statutes that grant any kind of power to anybody else apart from the Attorney General, which is plenty. So yeah, so we have a different perspective.
Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you. You're welcome.
That's Dr. Kojo Asante. Now, he believes that if there's any energy to be expended, it should not be at the OSP going to the Attorney General for the authorization. Like, he doesn't think it's necessary. The OSP should rather challenge the decision of the High Court. That is the opinion they hold. SM, I see two business, NLA, and of course the other one. This is a Turkey Sky Manebenda, who says if not the NDC and Mr. President, he claims in bed with the MPP, will we have been here? How can MPP complain about free speech? There's also Kojo Fiagbo, who says tell Comrade Bande that we attack them as grassroots because they are dealing with the new patriotic party. There's Brian Brighter, good morning to you. That's a matter between us. Mr. Kwebu to resolve. But thank you very much for your very interesting opinion. By the way, happy birthday to Angelo Kojo Fiagbe. Angelo Kojo Fiagbe is a very good friend of ours. He's a very good friend of ours. Today is his birthday. He celebrates his birthday today. Togwi, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I'll find an appropriate song to play for Togwi on his birthday today. SM, before we take a break.
Kojo Asante Centre for na lawyer Martin Kwebu OSP unity now or yasana na say on the OSP where you do. Hey, I didn't go for much of money when he on some back when the attack corruption. Has some Kojo Asante Centre for say only the CB men, any CB women, abba. Na CB women no, a man or dear no. Oba wono uni atinka na say ebia yedi roba ibi ana say oba wono bosomeso na okofichira